Hello! Welcome to an adventure. I did it again, Detective Zen. Thank you for telling me. I was saying, I hope that you all had a great break, a great midwinter, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, Kwanzaa, all the things that happened in the last couple of weeks. I hope that you had a good time and that you are healthy and safe. I, of course, did not have an Archival Adventures last week because campus was closed and I couldn't get in the building. So, we're back. This is the first episode of year 4 of Archival Adventures. The very first Archival Adventures was January 6th, 2021. We're starting our 4th year with this episode. Amazing! What sounds like quitter talk? Yes, year 4. That's 2 twos! I'm not going to vamp the whole opening. I actually, should start and maybe say, hi, welcome to an adventure. I am Logan 27, aka Anthony Light Day Hernandez, Community Collections Archivist at Virginia Tech. And this is a once-a-week show that goes out live on 2, count them, 2 Twitch channels. We are currently live on the University Library's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/VTUL Studios, as well as my own personal channel, twitch.tv/Robin27. And this is just a thing that I started doing that is so much fun, and honestly, it's great that people just stop by and want to, look at whatever random things we happened to find in the archives to share for the week. I think the new bot commands are up to date. I don't know. We'll find out. But first, let me see who else in chat. Of course, SiriBot. Hello. Hello, good bot. Hi, Hannah. It's good to see you. T Squared, hello. Worklook, they're excited to be here. Hi, Detective Zen. Thank you for letting me know that the microphone was still muted. Yes, we have gone 3 years, starting every stream with a look at the history of the institution that owns the materials we're looking at. The Land Acknowledgement and Labor Recognition from the Office of Inclusion and Diversity at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech acknowledges that we live and work on the Tutelar and Monacan people's homeland, and we recognize their continued relationships with their lands and waterways. We further acknowledge that the Morrill Land Grant College Act of 1862 enabled the Commonwealth of Virginia to finance and found Virginia Tech through the forced removal of Native nations from their lands in Western territories. We understand that honoring Native peoples without explicit material commitments falls short of our institutional responsibilities. Through sustained, transparent, and meaningful engagement with the Tutelar and Monacan peoples and other Native nations, we commit to changing the trajectory of Virginia Tech's history by increasing Indigenous student, staff, and faculty recruitment and retention, diversifying course offerings, and meeting the growing needs of all Virginia tribes and supporting their sovereignty. Virginia Tech acknowledges that its Blacksburg campus sits partly on land that was previously the site of the Smithfield and Solitude plantations, owned by members of the Preston family. Between the 1770s and the 1860s, the Prestons and other local white families that owned parcels of what became Virginia Tech also owned hundreds of enslaved people. We acknowledge that enslaved Black people generated wealth that financed the predecessor institution to Virginia Tech, the Preston and Olin Institute, and they also worked on construction of its building. Not until 1953, however, was the first Black student permitted to enroll. Through inclusive VT, the institutional and individual commitment to prosim, that I may serve, in spirit of community, diversity, and excellence, we commit to advancing a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community. So, what are we starting year 4 with? The first year of Archival Adventures started with pulp science fiction. It's not up to date, Hannah. I'll fix that in just 1 second. Let's just take this graphic as a. This is, it's fine. Everything's fine. Well, that's all right then. Yeah, give me 2 shakes of a giraffe's tail here. My brain just paused for a second. Hi, Stephen Joy! It's good to see you. I'm fixing our note text here. What I was saying, let's see. How have we started the past 3 years of streams? The first year of streams, does anybody remember? I mean, I just literally told you all what it was, so. The first year of streams, the first stream ever for this show. I'm trying to talk while I'm fixing the command. Was pulp science fiction. We looked at a bunch of pulp sci-fi magazines, mostly at the Art. It was a rough start, y'all. What I didn't know during that stream was that major events were happening in the nation's capital. While I was doing my first ever stream of Archival Adventures. Yeah. Okay. We're almost there. We're almost there. Pulp sci-fi, or how to make paper with lasers. Not quite, but sure. Year 2. We started 2022 with more pulp sci-fi. What? Specifically, we started 2022 with pulp science fiction magazines from Australia. And then we started 2023 with the guy who got barcodes to be used for inventory control in retail shops. We looked at papers about the implementation of barcodes for inventory control in retail, which still blows my mind. It was, I don't know if it was the most engaging, but it was really interesting because I had never even, the fact that didn't used to be a thing, and then of course it didn't used to be a thing, but that's the kind of like historical stuff. Sterling, my mic is very distorted. Is this better? I'm hoping. Please let me know. I had a last minute messing with audio, so unsurprisingly. Better than it was, that implies not good. Is it any better now? What? I don't know what you mean by distorted, so do tell me what I need to fix, because I will do it. I have fixed this, and the finding aid command should work properly now and point to the right things. I don't know. Lots of peaking, and it sounds like heavily compressed. I will attempt to make a slight modification. You may end up getting a dark screen for a moment. Because I don't know if I can do... Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe we can hope. Is this better? There was a compressor on the mic. I have just deleted the compressor. Hopefully that's better. What's funny is I didn't mess with any of these settings between previous streams and today. Like, these settings... are the same as they were. And Sterling, congratulations on being a VIP for this stream. Yeah, I hope. Better when I don't speak loudly. Okay. Oh gosh, wow. No, it is definitely peaking. I see that. Oh, that's because I took the compressor off and then that mucked with things. Oh dear, just here to make sure you messed nothing up. You didn't mess anything up. The fact that I have to tear down all of my equipment between each stream means that the normal tech support issues of the start of stream are, happening again. 2024. So streaming starts with audio issues. Just how things are. Yes. There is literally a reason why I got the this is fine emote on my water bottle. Hopefully this is better. I'll have to go. I really someday we'll get. I'm working on getting it so that I can just do the show from my desk, but there's some equipment that just needs to be purchased first. So, but considering that this is year 4, I imagine that my case for actually buying that equipment is better. Well, and it's not so much that it's hard to set up, Sterling. It's that for some reason, when I set it up, sometimes it just doesn't work the same as it did the last time. Hopefully the audio is good now. I have reduced the gain. I deleted the compressor. Hopefully it's okay. I'm going to talk about what we're looking at today, which is the Phillip G. Peltz Journal. Much better than it did. Good. See, I can't hear myself. I don't have a monitor for my voice at all. And I could put it in my ears, but it would take a moment. It would take a while, and then I would be preoccupied with trying to fix the audio. So if it's acceptable, I'm going to go on. I will continue to try and get better audio, better lighting, permanent setup, those things. Okay, we're looking at the Phillip Peltz Journal, and of course the episode title is the USS Dacotah. There's a biographical note about Phillip Peltz and a historical note about the Dacotah itself. So Phillip G. Peltz was the chief engineer of the USS Dacotah for the United States Navy, the Union Navy, during the American Civil War. And you'll note in the finding aid, everywhere that we mention the USS Dacotah, it is misspelled. I have not fixed it yet, because this is how the finding aid has been for years, but I have confirmed it is misspelled. It should have an H on the end. It is the only instance that I'm aware of the word Dakota being spelled D-A-C-O-T-A-H, but that is the name of the ship. The USS Dacotah was a steel sloop that served in the United States Navy during the American Civil War. On March 9th, 1862, it sailed to join the Union blockade of the North Atlantic. Wow, I can read, you know? I mean, you can read too. Stationed near Hampton Roads, Virginia from March to September 1862, participated in the blockade of the Confederacy, a strategy to prevent Confederate trading. It patrolled the Atlantic seaboard on various assignments throughout the Civil War. Its most notable naval battle was the Battle of Hampton Roads in 1862, where the USS Monitor and the CSS Virginia. Interesting, that sentence is incomplete. As Peltz's entries note, the most notable naval battle in the Civil War was the Battle of Hampton Roads in March 8th, 9th, 1862. Wow, this does need editing. Where the Union ironclad USS Monitor and the Confederate ironclad CSS Virginia, also known as the CSS Merrimack, something. I assume that they fought one another. Since we go on to say it was the first battle between ironclad ships, the outcome was inconclusive, with neither ship able to inflict significant damage on the other. Okay. Why is that? So here's the thing, and if I had been supervising somebody writing this finding aid, this is a question that I would have asked. I don't know who. Yeah, it was one of our graduate students that wrote it. But in this historical note, it's fine, except that entire second paragraph is not about the USS Dacotah or Phillip Peltz. It's about Union and Confederate ships during the Civil War, but there's nothing really in the collection about the Monitor or the Virginia, so it probably doesn't need to be there unless there's a reason to tie it back in to the Dacotah. But we'll find out. Did they forget to use both S's in USS? It doesn't look like it. Yeah, I don't see one that's missing an S. Anyway, this collection. Okay, so it does talk about the Merrimack in the journal, it looks like. We'll have to take a look at that, because maybe that will give context and a reason for why we would include it in the historical note as extensively as we did. But you all can peruse. If there's something mentioned in there and you're like, oh, can we find this portion specifically, let me know, and I will try to accommodate. We have Phillip Peltz's journal, and you can see here the title, USS Dacotah, Blockade Journal, 1862 to 1863. I can bump in on that. This box is not the journal. This is a box that the journal was put in. some bubble wrap in here. Sorry, I got distracted by the music. I like it. It was just unexpected. Okay, so I'm gonna remove the journal from the box. So this box is just to protect it. And then there is a cover that's the same as the box, but again, that's just to protect it. When we get down to the actual journal, this is the actual journal. You can see the spine is basically non-existent. You can see a little bit here, the threads that tie it together. I can zoom in on that too. At least it's not balloons. This is true. I don't have random graphic balloons that were added by the operating system without my knowledge. But yeah, so you can see the spine has gone, and you can actually see the threads that tie the different leaves of the book together. This is not uncommon, and this is why this journal was prepared and put inside that other binding. But what we do to deal with fragile spines is foam. Foam blocks are angled foam blocks. I'm actually going to keep this extra and we'll start taking a look. So we got some pencil. To me, it's a little difficult to see. I'm going to zoom in so that it's bigger, because then it's easier to see. You can see, let's see, 82. I don't know what the 82 is about. Dacotah, built 1858, wood, screw propulsion. I don't know who handwrote these notes in it. Whether these notes were added sometime after. They're not in the same hand as Phillip Peltz. So I don't know who added this information, but these are some basic details on the Dacotah itself. 1,360 displacement tons, 996 tonnage, 198 feet 6 inches length, 32 feet 9 inches beam. Hull was made by the Navy Yard at Norfolk, Virginia. Machinery by Murray and Hazelhurst in Baltimore, Maryland. It cost, looks like $355,539.40. And it was sold in 1873. Per Bennett? I'm curious. I do not know who Bennett is. The Steam Navy of the U.S. Oh, this is their citation of where they got that information. Plus see page 16970, I'm assuming, of the journal. By me? Is that... I don't know if this Oh, it is. Haha. Ah, by the end, of 1859, Dacotah was on her way to join the something squadron. So this book, when we bought it, it came with a typed out transcription of everything. It's not 100%. No transcription ever is. By the end of 1859, Dacotah was on her way to join the something squadron. They couldn't figure out join. It was very obvious to me, but ASRATRE, I'm certain is incorrect. They don't mark it as questionable. But I'm not certain what is correct. So I don't know what the name of the squadron is. We could figure that out if we needed to, though. The Monitor was built in 1861, Continental Iron Works, New York, for the hull. It foundered off Hatteras in 1862. Monitor Merrimack Battle, March 9th, 1862. Dacotah on her way to Hampton Roads. I don't know what the depth, something, it was Dacotah on her way to Hampton Roads. And then there's the caret to insert DEP Boston. I don't know what DEP means here. Departing. Got it. Dacotah on her way to Hampton Roads, departing Boston. It was at sea and did not arrive at Hampton Roads until March 13th. Cool. Okay. The next page has a little more handwriting. But then we're gonna actually get into the actual like journal part. I don't know these additional, like, this is notes by somebody who I think was reading the journal and was like, oh, here are the facts. Let's see. Let's see. Made about the Monitor. 78 pages. Yeah. Again, it's somebody was writing in the book to take notes about the book. Not uncommon. Do y'all want to see what the Dacotah looked like? I can find a photo. I sadly don't have a photo in our collection, but there exist photographs I'll bring up the photo from the Library of Congress that I used in the starting soon screen. But then I'll also find one that is Ooh, let's see how this works. Yep, I was afraid of that. There. So this is this is from the Library of Congress. It's a stereograph from their collections there. So you've got two of the same image on this card because it's meant for viewing through a stereograph. viewer, but that's the deck of the Dacotah. Let me find. I'd like to get one that shows you sort of like the overall of what the ship looked like. You know, one might have thought that I might have possibly prepared an image to share with you all, but you know I don't prepare for this show. Is there anybody who is a big American Civil War aficionado, somebody who knows a bunch about it? Because I don't. Having grown up in Virginia, I do know some, but I don't know a lot. And actually, I'm not getting easy to find images. Let me find this. Sharing is for organized people? Yeah, I want a picture of it, please. Taken aboard the Dacotah. Interesting. Wow, like the deck image, the image from on deck seems to be the best I'm able to find. I'm not easily finding a picture of this specific sloop. If anybody wants to seek out an image to share, please do, but I'm gonna move on. I could show you other sloops, but I don't know how similar they are. And without doing research, I don't want to necessarily share the wrong one. Ooh, you found one? Let me pull that up. Oh, yep, that's the same image that I showed earlier. I was trying to find one that wasn't from on deck. So I was trying to find one that would give a perspective so you could see what the ship looked like overall. That is the stereograph from the Library of Congress. So the same image that I actually was sharing just a few minutes ago. Anyway, I'm gonna start showing the documents. But if anybody finds a shot of the ship from afar so that we can sort of see its overall shape, I would love that. I just am not quickly finding one. So, the first entry in the journal, Sunday, March 2nd, 1862. Let's see. At 11:40 a.m., left the Brooklyn Navy Yard to search for the Vermont. Ship of the line, reported by telegraph to be in distress near Georgia Shoals. All the night previous, we worked to prepare the ship for sea, not expecting to leave for several days for Ship Island. As it was, we left many things behind, unable to obtain them from the contractors. I'm unfamiliar with Ship Island. That's something I want to look into. I want to know more about that. We were informed of the position of the Vermont and the necessity of positive haste by Commodore Paulding, who came to the vessel at midnight. He placed everything necessary for an early departure at our disposal. The captain at the time was in New York with his family. A messenger was sent. At once, who found the old gentleman snugly turned in. He tuned. That does look like what it says. He tuned our bid adieu to all, and soon was on board our vessel in command. That's a very strange phrasing. Is that really what it says? It's definitely our. Regarding the above link, more of a wind-powered warship rather than steam-powered? Ah. The Constellation. All right, I've got a steam sloop of war that I found. I think it should be the same. So this is not the Dacotah. This is the USS Pawnee. But it should be basically the same. It's a steam-powered sloop of war from roughly the same time period. Hey, the past! Why you talk funny? I mean, it was a weird phrasing that doesn't seem to make sense. That's what I mean. Like, what does it mean to tune our bid adieu? That doesn't. It's a nonsensical sentence. That is what it was transcribed as. I don't think it's actually correct, but looking at it, I'm not certain what is correct. Found the old gentleman snugly turned in. You know, I think it's turned again. I think it's not tuned. I think it says he turned. And that next word does look like how he writes the word our, which doesn't make sense. It would make sense if that was and, but it looks like our. Anyway, turned our bid adieu to all, and soon was on board our vessel in command. So, Hannah, thank you for sharing the link that shares several different types of ships used during the era. Two. Something hours. No? Oh, wow. No, I think they actually transcribed that one correctly. I might also add, he left his pocketbook under his pillow with a considerable amount of money in it. I wonder if his wife did not make an acquisition to her wardrobe. He left his pocketbook under his pillow with money in it. I wonder if his wife went and bought more clothes. Okay. Monday, March 3rd. Nothing unusual today. Still standing for the shoals, pressing everything to reach the Vermont if possible, ere she encounters another gale, which would probably wreck her. We all look upon the better side of things and hope for her safety until we reach her whereabouts. See, I have like the transcription, but I can read his writing fairly well without it. So I'm only going to refer to the transcription if I can't figure out what it says. Tuesday, March 4th, discovered a schooner in a disabled condition, sent a boat to her, and bought off her captain and crew, numbering in all 6. Brought off her captain and crew, numbering in all 6. And if we could I get a historical terms, because I know it's in modern usage as well, but using disabled in this sort of way, there are other ways to say it that don't have the same sort of connotation, and this ends up coming across as ableist language, and so I'm aware. I'm also aware that that is one area where we're just at the very tip of starting to modify how we use language around topics related to the disabled community. And so I don't know what other terms we'll discover in the book. I have not pre-read it. We'll find out. The schooner proved to be the Adelia from Philadelphia, bound for Halifax, loaded with flour and sugar. She was dismasted on the 24th of February, thus drifting about for 8 days, not knowing what moment she would go down. All in a perfect state of suspense, only realized by those who are compelled by circumstances to undergo it. I'm gonna read that again. Bound for Halifax, loaded with flour and sugar, she was dismasted off the. She was dismasted on the 24th of February, thus drifting about for 8 days, not knowing what moment she would go down. Ah, thank you. I skipped a line. I was like, it doesn't make sense. I skipped a line. All in a perfect state of suspense, only realized by those who are compelled by circumstances to undergo it. They had drifted about 130 miles and were then near George's Shoals. The poor fellows, when they came on board, looked hard enough. For several days, it had been snowing and hailing, and they were obliged to remain on deck as all the hatches were battened down to keep the schooner from sinking. One of the party, who had been sick for some time previous, was so near exhausted that it was necessary to whip him over the side. When the boat came alongside, all hands were debarked with considerable difficulty, as the sea at the time was running quite high. We were all thankful to be able to render this small service and hope that our mission may be the means of saving many more lives and a deal of government property. So this is the beginning of March 1862. I'm not an expert on the American Civil War, so I don't remember exactly the dates, and I'm gonna look it up. It is one of our collecting areas, but I'm not an expert. So yes, this is approximately a year after the start of the American Civil War. The dates for the war run from April of 1861 through May of 1865. And this journal is from March of 1862. I have tried to journal before, and I'm supposed to journal. I've been told that I should journal. These are really good entries. Like, is this what journal entries are supposed to read like? Anyway, Saturday, March 8th. Cruised until this date. But without hearing anything of the Vermont. Our coal getting short, we ran into Boston and re-coaled. Went on shore a short time, had some oysters, took a glimpse at the town, rested near Bunker Hill Monument, and then came on board. Not very well impressed with Boston. I tried journaling for a while, but pretty quickly gave it up. It's not for you. Twitter killed out most journaling skills. Like that short little entry from March 8th. It's a little summary. Cruised until this date, so the previous entry was from the 4th, so 4 days later. Cruised until this date, but without hearing anything of the Vermont, because this is a ship's journal, like this is the journal of the chief engineer of the ship, so partly personal, but also partly about like the operation of the ship. I love this. Our coal getting short, we ran into Boston and re-coaled.
which I don't think is actually a word, but who cares? It makes sense. Went on shore a short time, had some oysters, took a glimpse at the town, rested, visited Bunker Hill Monument, and then came on board. Not very well impressed with Boston. Apparently, Peltz did not like Boston. Oh gosh, hello 16-bit Eric, welcome Whimsies, it is great to see you. If you are new here, welcome. Welcome to Rogan 27, I'm Rogan. I'm also Anthony Right Day Hernandez, Community Collections Archivist at Virginia Tech. This show I do every Wednesday, and it is basically like an unboxing of archival materials. And I stream to two channels, to the library's channel where I work, which is twitch.tv/VTUL Studios, as well as to my own personal channel, twitch.tv/Rogan27. Pretty Witchery, is my mic still doing weirdness? My mic was being icky earlier, and I tried to adjust it. Apparently, it still sounds weird. Well, that's frustrating. It sounds muffled? Okay. I've been... I can't hear it. Sounds like I'm in 1892. Not any worse than it's been on other streams. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that at some point then, because it should not be doing that. And I am saddened to hear that it is. Hello? No. Yeah, I don't know. Doobie-doobie-doo. I was gonna see if I could make it so that I could hear it too, but right now I can't. Maybe the gain is wrong. It's been peaking again, but there's nothing. Yeah, I don't know why. It's because of course. Well, I could do something like that. I don't know if that made any big difference. But if it did, let me know. If it didn't, let me know that too. Hi, welcome in. It's great to have you all here. If anybody's here who was not already following 16-bit Eric, you should follow 16-bit Eric. What we're looking at today, I have the journal of Phillip G. Peltz, who was the chief engineer of the USS Dacotah during the American Civil War, slowly transitioning to Charlie Brown's teacher. His job was, I'm gonna, I will muck with this later, but I'm just gonna, you might hear a fan that you didn't hear before. I have removed all of the filters from the microphone. Also, apparently, an ad break started, so it's worse. I'm not surprised. Yeah, this is unfiltered audio now. I don't know. But
I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I hopefully can, yeah. Hopefully, it's a little bit better. Super distorted? No! Right. I'm gonna take a minute, and I'm gonna switch mics. Okay, I have no idea if this microphone is going to be any better, but it's a different microphone now, and it doesn't have all the filters I normally have, but it's better. Okay, so it must have been the microphone partly. That's interesting. I'm glad that it's much, much better. I will have to work on the audio, and I don't know what was up with the other microphone. But let's move forward. We have the journal of Phillip G. Peltz, the chief engineer of the USS Dacotah, which was a steam ship of war of the Union Army during the American Civil War. There is the handwritten journal, and then when we acquired this journal, it has a transcription that came with it, like a whole transcription of the entire thing. Unusual, but also awesome. But at the same time, I'm
fairly good at reading his handwriting, so I have only been referring to it if I need to. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has a specific date that you're aware of for like naval stuff during the Civil War and you want me to jump to a certain part, let me know. I can check the journal. It starts, right now we're in March of 1862 with the journal. And I think it just covers March. No, I think it goes 1862 to 1863. But I don't know when major events happened, so honestly, as incomprehensible cursive goes, his is not that bad. Actually, yeah, this is nowhere near the worst. I think in the first year of episodes, we did one where we looked at handwriting, and that was kind of interesting. A steamship? Yeah. Normally we're on a steamship. Yes, something like that. I did find, for reference purposes, I have not found an image of the Dacotah, but this is a steam-powered U.S. Union ship of war from roughly the same time period. This is the USS Pawnee. The only images that I've found of the Dacotah itself are from on deck, so you wouldn't be able to like get the overall of what the ship looks like. But as far as I can tell, this should be roughly the same. But we're at Sunday, March 9th. Received orders as soon as we were cold to proceed without a moment's delay to sea. As soon as we were well out, we learned from the orders being opened, our destination was Hampton Roads, which is in Virginia. The day was propitious and bid fair for a good run. The whimsical, jaunty music is a weird juxtaposition for talking about a warship. Hey, the channel that I picked is Calming Cinematics. There are other options. Let's go Epic. We'll see what the Epic music channel. Propitious? Yeah, it says propitious. Propitious. I don't know where you're getting Harry from. The day was propitious and bid fair for a good run. Or are you trying to guess the meaning of propitious? Because I don't know that means Harry. It's favorable. Yeah, archaic, but not a criticism, just found it funny. Well, I was hoping for more of like an epic feel, and it's the first time I had used that channel. Usually I just do like some chill something or other. Oh, this is very epic. I think that's a bit distracting, honestly. Yep, nope. We're just gonna go some lo-fi here. Anyway. I can also lower the music so it's less distracting, but I don't know. Oh, Propecia. Propitious and Propecia are different? Yeah, no, I'm not feeling this music either. Yeah. All right, whatever. It's now on chill jazz. Moving on. Thursday, March 13th. Arrived at Fortress Monroe and heard for the first time the news of the terrible encounter between the Merrimack rebel and Cumberland and Congress Federal. Also, the timely intervention of the Monitor. We all listened with much attention to account of the battle, and the glorious and noble, and the never-before-equaled bravery and heroism of officers and crew of the Cumberland. She sank with her crew still at and firing her guns. And still, the noble and unpolluted ensign of our country waves from her masthead as an emblem of the bravery that were fought under Fultz. I think that's what it says. It's strange phrasing, but yeah, that's what they transcribed to. We are now under heavy banked fires and ready for a start at a short notice. Constantly on the alert and anxiously await the coming of the enemy. Having a hyphen in the middle of the word anxiously, a little difficult to translate, but we got there. Thank you to the transcription. I don't know who transcribed it, but thank you to whoever did. That, talking about the first ever battle between ironclads, the Merrimack from the Confederate States Navy and the Monitor from the Union Navy. Hyphenated line breaks always get me. Yeah. Hooray for transcription peoples. Friday, March 14th. Nothing out of the usual routine has occurred today. All hands await the coming of the Merrimack with some interest and hope soon to see her and try her ironsides once more. Try her ironsides once more. Okay, the Merrimack. There was a notation at the beginning, or no, it's in the finding aid about these ships. The Merrimack is the Confederate ironclad that was also known as the CSS Virginia. Beware the Ides of March, Stavros. Indeed. We're almost there. Because, yeah, we're about to read the Ides of March. March 15th is the Ides of March, famously known as, for the assassination of Julius Caesar in the Roman Empire. Saturday, March 15th. Called at 3 a.m. to general quarters. all in readiness for a mysterious, supposed to be... Wait, does that say mysterious? Okay, I read it as mysterious. They transcribed it as mysterious, but they put it in brackets, meaning that they weren't 100% certain, because mysterious doesn't seem to make sense there. Supposed to be the Merrimack off Sewell's Point. I guess mysterious meaning an unknown ship. Supposed to be the Merrimack off Sewell's Point. Exercised the men at their respective fighting quarters till 5, when all the crew were something to breakfast. Piped to breakfast. Still, keeping a tight lookout for the enemy. They transcribed it as bright. I think they're possibly correct. Expect to fight a day. Oh, I expect a fight at daybreak. Steam up constantly and ready to move the engines at a moment's warning. So the steam engines are prepped and constantly ready. No fight at daybreak. Twice at general quarters during the day, all ready for fighting. The reports, however, all proved false and groundless. So much excitement. They prepped and they were ready to fight, and then nothing happened. Which, honestly, probably a good thing. Sunday, March 16th. This is a really interesting journal. We barely scratched the surface of it, but I've never read, like, this isn't like the official ship's log. This is the ship's engineer's journal. Commenced the day at midnight with general quarters, after which, for the balance of the night, much disturbed by the sonorous respiration of our pilot, so much so that it became necessary to arouse him from the arms of Morpheus by the quartermaster once every quarter of an hour. It became necessary to rouse him from the arms of Morpheus. He was snoring too loud, and so they kept waking him up. But listen to that phrasing. Necessary to arouse him from the arms of Morpheus by the quartermaster once every quarter of an hour. Just awesome. Went on shore at 11 o'clock. Visited the machine shop, Navy, Fortress, etc., etc. Invited to dine with the Naval Committee, who was here in an examining excursion to the Monitor, etc. Examined the great 15-inch gears now being mounted in front of the Fortress. They weigh each 49,099 pounds, nearly 22 tons, and throw an oblong projectile at midnight called to general quarters. I thought the blue pill keeps people from the arms of Morpheus. Detective said, I have no idea. I'm not certain if I wasn't already familiar with Neil Gaiman's work. I'm not sure I would have recognized Morpheus, apart from context clues, as being, like, I probably wouldn't have even, I would have struggled to read that word, because if I didn't know Morpheus equates with sleep, and the only reason I know that is because of Neil Gaiman's Sandman. But if I didn't know that Morpheus equated with sleep, that would have been a hard word to figure out. Monday, March 17th. Clear morning! And continues to be so during the entire day. At 11 a.m., a signal from the flagship to prepare for action. Guns manned. Steam up and all ready. The alarm proved false. Hence, no fight yet. In the afternoon, one rebel steamer showed her nose around Sewell's Point, but put back at once. Probably from the sight of the increased number of federal boats at the roads. Since her last appearance, the young America has just passed us. I learned she is the towboat that bamboozled the rebels, by whom she was employed to tow a battery from Norfolk by hanging the battery within the range of the Cumberland's guns. Of course, she was captured. The same captain now has her in the government employ. I need to reparse that because I was trying to figure out the words and I didn't quite follow it myself. The young America has just passed us. I learn she is the towboat that bamboozled the rebels, parentheses, by whom she was employed to tow a battery from Norfolk, close parentheses. By hanging the battery within the range of the Cumberland's guns, of course she was captured. The same captain now has her in the government's employ. Oh, really? That's an interesting bit of news. The Young America was a Confederate ship that was captured by the Union and the same captain was captaining it for the Union after it was captured. I don't think they intentionally got captured, Obi-Wan. They were... I think they were meant to... be bait to draw out the Cumberland, but it got captured. But the interesting thing to me is that that last sentence, the same captain now has her in the government's employ. So I didn't originally, when I read through it, I didn't recognize that the Young America was a Confederate ship. But the caret after the word bamboozled, right here, indicates that it was a rebel ship. So the rebels, by whom she was employed to tow a battery from Norfolk. And they captured the ship, But the same captain who was captaining it for the rebels, he says, is captaining it in the government employ, so for the Union. So this journal is happening. Looks like he was just a ship for hire, quite possibly. This journal is happening. There was, as noted in the finding aid, the ship was taking part in the blockade of the Confederacy. So it was stationed near Hampton Roads, Virginia from March to September of 1862 as part of a blockade of the Confederacy. So it's not surprising that they're just sitting there and not necessarily having a fight every day. And it also makes sense that the Confederate Navy would be trying to draw out, to send bait out to draw out ships and break the line so that they could get trade in via sea. So that all makes sense. Tuesday, March 18th, 12 schooner loads of mules arrived here today, and 40,000 troops. Pardon me, dry throat. This is fine. It is really dry in here. Right now, it is 74.8 degrees Fahrenheit with 21% humidity. It's actually more humid right now in here than normal. Not the ideal conditions, but they are what they are. 12 schooner loads of mules arrived here today, and 40,000 troops are expected tomorrow. Some firing has been going on from the ripraps. They threw shot in the direction of Sewell's Point. Many fell short, while others done some execution to the rebels. Does that make sense? That looks like what it says. I'm not sure it makes sense, though. 12 schooner loads of mules arrived here today, and 40,000 troops are expected. Some firing has been going on from the ripracks. I think it's ripraps, but they threw shot in the direction of Sewell's Point. Many fell short, while others yeah, it's definitely done some execution to the rebels. Apparently. So who were the ripraps? This is a term I am unaware of. Does anybody know the ripraps in the American Civil War? I have found there's a Wikipedia article about that mentions the ripraps. It's under the Hampton Roads harbor defenses. Oh no, there's an actual whole entry about ripraps. Ripraps is a small 15-acre, 60,000 square meters, artificial island at the mouth of the harbor area known as Hampton Roads in the independent city of Hampton in southeastern Virginia in the United States. Its name is derived from the riprap shoals in Hampton Roads, which also gave their name to a 19th century criminal gang. In 2020, the island was converted into a bird sanctuary, and routine public access was terminated. So, okay, so there was what's being related here. Some firing has been going on from the ripraps, which is this artificial island. They threw shot in the direction of Sewell's Point. Many fell short, while others done some execution to the rebels. The idea was to disperse the rebels and set the woods on fire in the vicinity. So the ripraps must be under Union control, I take it. The rebel flag at Sewell's Point has disappeared and has not been seen for several days. They probably have decamped. We have just received orders in the event the enemy again appears and we get a chance at them. We are to run them down at full sprint. I hope that our success may be like that of the Merrimack in the attack and utter destruction of the poor, proud, brave, glorious, and never to be forgotten Cumberland. I think we might cleave her, the Merrimack. I can't make out that word. I think we might cleave her, the Merrimack. Sure, if once an opportunity offers. We are all ready and hope she will soon come down from Norfolk and give us a show. It sounds so confident and like they're not in one of the worst conflicts this part of the world has seen. Wednesday, March 19th. No signs of the Iron Monster yet. Sounds like the old mantra, home by Christmas. Kind of. I like this sentence as an opening for the day. No signs of the Iron Monster yet. Flags of truce were communicated today. A few boat, rebel, hove in sight around Sewell's Point, making a reconnaissance. But soon she stood back for Norfolk. Troops are arriving in great numbers from Washington with all their equipment. It says equipments. I don't know why my brain said accoutrement. Anyway, troops are arriving from Washington, or arriving in great numbers from Washington with all their equipments and munitions of war. 50,000 are expected. They are now being landed at Fortress Monroe and marching back to encamp temporarily in the vicinity of Hampton. Temporarily? It definitely says temporarily, but I think it means temporarily. Something grand is to be done soon, no doubt. The taking of Norfolk, most probably. It is now quite cold and raining, making it very bad for the poor troops in their crowded condition on the boats, and for those in their something tense on shore. And the transcriber also was not certain what that word was. Time shenanigans not allowed? Encampments? Yes. To encamp temporarily. That's what it says. But, yeah, no, I'm not. Rude. It's rude. 4 troops in their crowded condition on the boats, and for those in their rude tents on shore. Thursday, 20th March. Aroused at 4 in the morning by the thumping of a scow against our stern. Some thought the Merrimack had come shore, for it was quite dark and raining, and she might have gotten on top of us before we could have seen her. One of our officers rushed on deck almost in a stab of something. Anybody? Not stab. Almost in a state of M-U I have no idea what these words are. Almost in a state of yeah, there's an ITY at the end. And SHOR LERS, which does not make any sense. The guess. So nudity would make sense. Yes, you're right. It is almost in a state of nudity and something. Shoeless. Almost in a state of nudity and shoeless. I'm gonna actually write in the transcription here, because that one was hard. Thank you for the help. I did. I know. One of our officers rushed on deck, almost in a state of nudity and shoeless, to see whether the enemy was at hand or not. When day broke, we found the scow, then far from us, and almost under the corner of the rebel battery at Sewell's Point. She was loaded with mules. Wagons, and other things connected with the expedition. We almost found one of the transports ashore opposite our ship. No doubt we'll go to pieces. Ere this mother ceases to blow. She is thought now to be bilged. The whole day has been quite disagreeable and bad for the debarkation of the troops. We hope for a better day tomorrow. This actually is a really interesting journal so far. Nothing's happened, but it's really interesting. They were scared. Northerly storm. Oh. It doesn't say mother, it says another? Possibly. Yeah, Obi-Wan, it could be N-O-T-H-E-R, but I don't see an apostrophe, but he's not consistent with his dots and crosses anyway. I've seen him dot when there is no letter that needs a dot. But yeah, it could be N-O-T-H-E-R as in northerly storm. Tell me, officer, were they naked or not? I mean, they didn't have shoes. My God! Cover those soldiers immediately! Detective Sam. I love it. I love it. I love it. I have no idea what's going to happen in this. Oh my gosh, look at the time. Friday, March 21st. Nothing very important has occurred today. A few transports continue to arrive loaded with troops and munitions of war. I learned today that the number of troops landed yesterday were 30,000. No alarm today from the Merrimack. Saturday, March 22nd. Drilling the crew continually and keeping everything in readiness for the Virginia. Owing to the order to men down the Merrimack at full speed in case she comes out, the captain and a portion of the crew of the Illinois, thinking it a desperate step, have refused to occupy their positions on board and, of course, were sent on shore. And others ordered on board to fill their places. The captain refused to occupy his position on what? Owing to the order to run down the Merrimack at full speed in case she comes out, the captain and a portion of the crew of the Illinois, thinking it a desperate step, have refused to occupy their positions on board and, of course, were sent on shore, and others ordered to board to fill their places. So the captain and part of the crew of the Illinois refused their orders and were cast off the ship? There's so much drama in these short little journal entries. It's funny, growing up in Virginia, I learned a lot about Civil War history, but it was all about the ground battles. We never, ever talked about the naval stuff at all. All the battlefields I visited were on land, and we never really talked about the naval stuff. And I'm really curious. I have never heard anything about the Illinois and the captain being thrown off the ship for refusing orders. That's amazing, and I'm really curious, and I'm not... Built at Newport News. No, that's not it, though. That's 1901. I have no idea. That I'm really curious about. That would be something that I would want to know more. Sunday, 23rd March. The sun rose this morning beautifully, and everything something for a fair day. The transcriber guessed diddling, which is a good guess, but I don't think that's right. I'm going to pass by. Everything was looking like it was going to be a fair day. I'm not going to deciding. I'm not certain. That one was a little hard to make out. The rebel flag is to be seen on Sewell's Point. General muster at 10. Articles of war read by our executive officer. So it's interesting because just a few days earlier, he talked about the flag of truce being run out, and now articles of war being read. We're a year into the Civil War at this point. The Civil War started in 1861, and this is 1862. I don't know. Monday, March 24th, troops still arriving in large numbers, cold ship in port. Tuesday, March 25th, troops continue to arrive in large numbers, some firing from the ripraps at Sewell's Point, some of the shots reaching the point. By report from Norfolk, the Merrimack is to come tomorrow and give us an attack. We are all ready and anxious. Articles of war being that the rebels didn't know it was actually on, didn't know the terms. Did you say they were captured? Well, there was a ship that was captured, but that apparently had switched sides. I don't know. But when I looked up the dates of the Civil War, it said April of 61. Articles of war. No, that's a Confederate publication. May have had the articles read at them to understand the terms of their capture. Yeah, it's possible. Everything agrees 1861 was the start. So it was officially declared April 12th of 1861. So I don't know what having articles of war read out in March of 1862, I'm not certain why they would be doing that. But I'm not a war historian. I'm sure a war historian, especially somebody who'd studied the American Civil War, probably would know exactly why. But I don't have that knowledge. Wednesday, March 26th. Although it was authentically reported that the Merrimack would come down today, she has appeared not. 2 live generals visited the ship today, General Smith and General somebody. I love the dash. He didn't know. He didn't know the name. Thursday, March 27th, reported today that the Merrimack will not be down for several days. She is now in the dry dock and will not be through with the repairs for some time. The report came from 3 deserters from the rebel side. Coaling our ship will continue. Will continue all night. As is all night. Friday, March 28th, many more troops have arrived and continue to come. 60,000 are said to be on shore. 1 inebriated lieutenant came on board, left by the Atlantic, bound for Port Royal. He is attached to Hunter's staff. One inebriated lieutenant. Okay. Clancy! Yeah? What was the name of that general? Oh, I don't know. One of them damn fools. I like that, Obi-Wan Pez. This is... I'm going to have to spend more time with this journal. This is really interesting. Saturday... It's so mundane and so amazingly interesting. I now, like, I need to follow up. What is this report of the Illinois and, like, the captain and some of the crew refusing their orders and being thrown off the ship and replaced? I need to know more. Saturday, March 29th. Nothing new. Until evening, when it was reported that the Merrimack would be down during the night. This news came from source, and no doubt will come. A number of our messmates, I feel like we should refer, after the number of times that it has been reported in this journal that the Merrimack is going to be down, I feel like we should refer to the tale of the boy who cried wolf. Obi-Wan Pez, this is the journal of Phillip G. Peltz, who was the chief engineer of the USS Dacotah. This news came from source, and no doubt will come. A number of our messmates are now our side of my room, discussing the event of her coming down. She is to be annihilated, sure. Some would like to get their clothes on shore before the engagement. Others are talking of the cool temperature of the water and the chances for getting a hold of a hatch grating when the ship goes down. We expect to cleave the Merrimack in carrying out the orders we now have, to run her down at full speed. At the same time, we all expect to be compelled to take to the water for the want of a ship to hold us. Now waiting anxiously for her to come out. Is that we? We not do like some are doing, turn in all standing, but will consign myself to Morpheus's care in the proper rude condition with the expectation of, proper nude condition with the expectation of being woken out at daybreak or possibly sooner to meet the monster Merrimack. Seven Hearts. Is that it? S-E-V-E. I think this is another case where he crossed something he shouldn't have. Hearts and wives have been drunk too. Proper nude condition. Sweetheart. Secret was a good guess too. The transcriber had it though. It's sweethearts. I've lost my place now. Sweethearts and wives have been drunk too outside, and now several are wondering whether they will be remunerated for the loss of their clothes, and how soon they will remove their boots as soon as she begins to go down rapidly, etc., etc. So, if I'm reading this correctly, like their orders are take out the Merrimack, go full speed once she appears, and destroy this ironclad. Makes sense as far as orders go, but in reading this, they're expecting their own ship to go down in the engagement. They fully expect that the Merrimack will sink, but they're also expecting that their own vessel will sink. And he's talking about some of the crew want to get their clothes to shore before the engagement starts. And some of them are concerned, are they going to be compensated for their ruined clothes after they end up in the water? It's really interesting. Just like, yeah, I want to know more. But technically it is the end of stream and we must come ashore. It is true. It is true. It is the end of stream. I do have a set to take down, and we have to leave the journal. This is fascinating. It's a long journal too. What do people think? Has this been interesting? I think that these have been interesting entries. I could bring this back and we could say, like, we could just pick up where we left off and keep reading at the 30th of March on another stream. Fashion, the important casualty of war. Obi-Wan, so the journal is written by the engineer of the Dacotah. The Merrimack that he's talking about is the CSS Virginia, yes. So it's the CSS Virginia that was also the CSS Merrimack. That is the ship that they're waiting for it to show up and that they're supposed to attack, and that they're expecting to lose their own ship when they engage against it. So yeah, Key Squared, I like it, and I think that it would definitely be worth doing. So I think confused why the Merrimack launched from Boston would be on the Confederate side. Yeah, no, it's not. The Dacotah launched from Boston. Oh gosh, of course, pre-roll ads, and that's my fault. I need to pay better attention to that, especially on this day, on Wednesdays. There's not a whole lot that I can do, but yeah, I'm gonna plan for us to revisit this. The Merrimack launched from Boston in 1855, well before the war. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to look into the history of the Merrimack, which I now know why the historical note includes information about the Merrimack. But yeah, the Confederate ironclad CSS Virginia, also known as the CSS Merrimack. So it won't be next week, but we will return to this journal, I think I will, I was already planning to do a series of pulp sci-fi, pulp speculative fiction this year. And it looks like I'm going to do a series about the USS Dacotah, because this journal is amazing and I want to keep going with it. Relaunched / christened Virginia, 17 February 1862. Ah. So wow, yeah, it was actually rechristened the Virginia before this journal was written. Wow. Thank you for checking on that, Obi-Wan Pez. So yes, I will plan for us to return to this next month, and we'll look at just kind of doing the same thing and doing like a sub-series. And I will do, I guess, the first stream of every month. We're just gonna pop back into this journal and keep reading until we don't want to anymore. So let's see. Our next entry to read is March 30th. And we'll look for, we'll look to return to the journal then on February 7th. For the Archival Adventures on February 7th. We'll pick up where we left off. I did not realize that it was, I think we had glanced at it before and just barely got a look at it and thought, oh, this seems kind of interesting. Let me do an entire stream about the journal. It's even better than I thought. It's even better than I realized. It's amazing. And I struggle sometimes with the Civil War content because I'm never certain exactly what to share, and I'm not an expert, and I'm kind of wary of potential trolls coming in. But this journal is really interesting, and I'm excited. Let me see where we're gonna go. Also, I will mention what's coming up next week. Next week, the episode title is All Aboard! Because we're going to be looking at some railroad stuff. So, that is the plan. We're going to do some railroad things. Have a bunch of math books from a professor's son that you're still cataloging. Took a long time off. Yeah. Probably local uni. That would make sense. I'm looking. And none of them are on. I discovered over the last couple weeks, I discovered a couple of really great science streamers. And none of them are streaming right now. So we will raid them another time. It's been a couple of weeks. It's been a little while since we popped in on Stephen Joy's, and so I'm gonna pop us on over to Stephen Joy's today, because we like popping in over there. Stephen is a wonderful streamer, currently doing Kerbal Space Program, but I'm gonna be keeping an eye out because paleontologizing and Volcano Girl, and I think it's Volcano Girl, I don't remember the tag, and science streams and some other really cool science streamers. I've got follows, Volcano Doc, thank you. I didn't remember. I have followed them, and so now if they are live at the end of this stream, those will be the places that I look to pop in on. But for today, join me in raiding Stephen Joy's. a wonderful, wonderful streamer with a wonderful community. Steven makes and wears tiny hats on stream. And yeah, Kerbal Space Program 2. There. So yeah, we'll pop in over there. Thank you all so very much for joining me today. Sorry about the audio problems with the mic. I don't know what was going on. I'm glad that you all let me know and I was able to switch microphones. I will try to fix that before next time. But hopefully I see you all again soon for another Archival Adventures. Until then, I hope that you will continue exploring history and yeah, keep learning, everybody.